Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee, and welcome to this card making paper craft tutorial. This is the lovely floral card we're making today. It features the pretty florals dies. There is also a matching stamp set, but today we're using just the dies, and then the sentiment is from With You in Mind, and I just love this whole composition. I just think it's beautiful, and this features the new in colours of Strawberry Slush, Secret Sea and Cloud Cover. So let's start off with some stamping. The stamp set that we're going to use, as I said, is this one called With You in Mind. Now my original I used Thinking of You, and I want to use a different sentiment, so I'm just going to get my dies out, and these are the nested essential dies, and I'm going to use the second largest die, and I'm just going to put this down so I can see which of my sentiments will still fit within this die. So I'm going to try the Happy Birthday, which is there, and I can see that it will fit, so that's great. So we can stamp that and use that for our sentiments. So I'm just going to put this on my grid paper here so I can get it nicely lined up and straight, and then I'm going to pick that up with my block, nice block here, and we're going to stamp this in Secret Sea. Now Secret Sea is a deep navy, almost a black navy. It's a lovely colour. It gives a beautiful crisp impression here, and I think it's just going to pop against the pretty florals. So let's put that down, press it down, hold it, and then lift it up again, and then you'll see a lovely stamp and ink. So now I'm going to clean this up using the Simple Chamois, one of my essential tools in the craft room. Could not live without the Simple Chamois. Absolutely adore it. It makes cleanup so easy. So let's put the stamp away in its home. I can see that I've left it in the Simple Chamois, though I do remember to stick it back in its little home afterward. It's that kind of thing that can make it help you to lose it. So now I'm going to cut out my sentiment, and then I'm going to cut out my matching piece using the nested label dies from Secret Sea cardstock, and then we're just going to stick one to the other so we have a lovely little mat around each one, and there we have our sentiment all done and dusted. Isn't that lovely? Right, so now we can set that aside, and we're going to just put together our little card base here. So our card base is Cloud Cover. So it's a standard A6 card base. That's an A4 sheet cut in half with it folds in half. Then I've got a piece here of basic white that measures 14.35 by 10. Now I should say you don't need to worry to put down all the measurements now, because you will find they are all on the blog post on my website, and you can find the link to that as well as all my social media links in the description box below. So here I'm just choosing a pattern for my background from the in colour pattern paper, and that's the one I want there. So I'm going to cut this down just half a centimetre less than the basic white, so that's 13.85 by 9.5. There we go, more scraps. I've got a ton of scraps in there, and I just store the scraps in the front with the rest of my 6x6 cardstock. So I'm going to stick this to the front of my basic white piece, and then the whole of this will get stuck to the front of the card base. Lovely. So now let's put down our sentiment. I'm just going to lay this flat because we will pop up some of our florals that we put around it. Lovely. So let's set that aside to dry, and let's work on our florals. Now to save some time, I've cut everything out already, and I've cut it out of Pretty in Pink and Strawberry Slush cardstock, and this is the die set, as I said, Paper Florals Dies, or Pretty Florals Dies rather. So I've cut out all the florals, and I've also cut out some foliage pieces from Old Olive cardstock, and now we're going to do a little bit of inking. So I'm just going to separate the florals from the foliage. There we go. So I'm going to get out my strawberry slush, and that's the same colour as this cardstock, and I'm just going to use it to add some colour around the outside of my petals, and just helps the colour not look so flat, gives some variation and some interest. So I'm going to do that, and then do that again here. There we go. And then I'm going to take my old olive, and I'm just going to get a scrap piece of what you call it, grid paper. That's the one, grid paper. And we're just going to add some colour to our foliage. And I'm not going to be too precise with this, but some of the pieces are very small and very fine, so I'm just adding sort of some colour down the centre of each of these pieces, just to give some variation in colour so it doesn't look so flat. Okay, so let's put all of those down there, and we're ready to assemble our florals. So this one can take a little bit of time to figure out which way it's meant to go, just to keep on going round, as I always say, and then you'll know. So I'm going to open this up like a book, and then I'm going to try and use some glue here around the sides. Not much, just catching the edges a little bit. This is a very fine tip on the glue, so it looks like I'm putting a lot down, but actually I'm not. And then we're going to put that on the front there of our flower. Isn't that lovely? It really makes it come to life. Now I should say these little florals here are not all the same. I look at them as little buds or little tulips, but they're not the same. Each of them is individual, and the layering pieces are individual as well. So make sure you get the right piece for the right topper for the right bottom, if you know what I mean, because they're all different. As I found out when I tried to do the wrong one and had to tear it all up and start again. Right, and do a little bit more ink blending here, and I just want to add a little bit of ink colour to the bottom of my, you can have these as buds or tulips, whatever you want them to be. I just want a little bit of colour there at the bottom as well. Right, let's start to build our florals. So and put that all to one side, and I'm going to bring in my silicate mat, so hopefully I can try and stop the glue from going everywhere if at all possible. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the base here. You could put these green little pieces to the back, but I hope they look the best on the front. Just like that, and just give it a good pinch to hold it in position. And then we're going to do the same for the others here as well. Just going to give it a little pinch. Hold that down. And last but not least, that one there. Okay, so that is our little set of buds or tulips, whatever you want to call them. So we're right to just put things together for our card. So I'm just seeing where my flowers will fit best on my card, and then putting together some little bit of composition. And here I'm going to use some dimensionals on this big floral here, enough that I can still tuck a little bit in, as you'll see, foliage and such like. So just going to stick this up in the far right top hand corner, and then I'm going to see where I can add some foliage. There we go. And I'm just putting some like that, and then we need to put some dimensionals on the top of the flowers here, and then the rest of it I'll just be laying flat with glue. So I'll take all those blessed backings off. Spent ages faffing with this, I tell you. There we go. So get rid of all those excess bits. We can save that for another project. I'm just thinking whether I want a bit more green there, but I decided against it. Right, so I'm going to take my Tombow and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to some of these foliage bits that are not really glued down, they're just tucked in, so that they won't just fly away, that they'll stay there. And now, last but not least, going to have a little bit of bling, and this is the basic rhinestones. So there we go, lovely, lovely card. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, I'd be grateful if you could give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So thank you for joining me today for this card making tutorial, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.